loading his legs, it's a lot easier for him to kind of kick away and start pushing away and also get different hooks and stuff. So when we're in this position, we're always kind of loading our hip and his legs up a little. Okay. The important thing with this is to kind of get that knee nice and deep. So I'm trying to put it into my other pocket. So when I clear this leg and I come to here, I'm really trying to get this knee as close to my pocket as possible. If I stay upright, it's going to be a little bit difficult. Okay, so get into this position. Yeah, I'm low. I'm also loaded on his hips. I'm going to drop this knee onto the mat. Okay, and then from here I'm going to switch my legs. Okay, so this is where we start looking at kind of how we pass. Monday we looked at kind of this kind of basic pass of just coming round and doing this, which is good. But there are opportunities where he can kind of block my hip. So even though I've got my weight down here, if I start, he thinks I'm going to start coming around to this end, he's going to start blocking his hips, and now he's also able to kind of posture back and start creating space as well. So we're going to switch our legs. Okay. So the only additional bit from the drill that we've just done, and most of us are getting this pretty good, yeah, is coming down maybe a little bit lower and just putting my knee on the mat. That's the difference. Yeah, it's just that. So the shin stays across. I'll switch the position in a second, and that's the main difference. We're then gonna bring this leg and replace this leg. So I'm gonna come through and replace. Okay, that's all we're gonna start with. Just getting that leg into that position. Yeah, if you're clever and you know what's next, you can do that. If not, as long as this knee goes here and the weight's still kind of loaded on the leg, that's great. So in, squat down nice and tight, okay, drop the knee, and then I'm going to replace. So I'm going to replace this leg with this leg. Okay, so in, down, might as well get used to the step now if you just get used to it. That one, please, sir. In, to pass, step over, keep that weight nice and low. Does that make sense? Yeah. Drop that knee. So hand position here, like for me, I always like to kind of have my underhook, and I think this is more kind of a personal preference of me hitting the underhook on the far side. Any sort of passing that I do, it doesn't feel natural at the moment to kind of have my hand in any other position. I think there's probably going to be a few more opportunities to really not worry about the underhook in this position, but for me at the moment, if I do this, I'm probably going to underhook. But like hand position isn't as important, I don't think, as doing like a normal sort of guard pass. I pass the leg, so I come through to here, and I bring this leg nice and high. Okay, so if I've got my shin across his leg, then I'm not as reliant on him doing something to get me into the mount position. Okay, if my leg's on the inside, I need him to start moving and stuff, and this is why I think maybe the shin across the thigh is probably a little bit better, rather than just getting into this position and then just having your leg on the inside of his legs. Okay, so for me to start looking at getting a mount position, I've just got to pass this knee above his knee. Okay, and because of the position that I've got, where I've got my weight down on his hip, it's going to be quite difficult for him to get his knee much higher. Even if he does get his knee much higher, it's quite easy just to push it down. Yeah, so I'm just relying on getting that knee above his knee, and then that's when I can then start going into a mount position, and that's because I've got my shin across his thigh. So in. See, I've already got my underhook, just freaking years of doing this, so I'm sure there's going to be some other opportunities, but this is what I do. Okay, so I need to get this knee, because I've already stepped out above this knee, and then it's quite easy to get into mount, because there's nothing stopping this leg at this point. Yeah, because this is the top leg. Yeah, then go into mount. If he pushes, so if he starts kicking this leg backwards, it helps me, and I just let him kick me back. Okay. If he kicks back, and you've got your leg on the inside without the shin across, again this helps. So just kick. To then follow into that mount position. If he doesn't kick back, we might have a bit of a problem because I ain't got my shin across the thigh. Yeah, because this leg could potentially kind of cause me a little bit of an issue. So that's the only reason why I'm kind of saying, let's make sure we get that shin across so we get a cleaner pass. Okay, so your knee goes above their knee, and then we're going to go into that mount position. That makes sense? Yeah. Give it a go. 1, 2, 3.